Hi, I'm Priyashni. You can call me Priya. I'm from Ba, that's a village in Fiji. In my family, I have my parents and I have my younger brother and my younger sister, so I'm the eldest. I grew up on a farm playing with chickens and cows and horses. As a child, I would say I was very naughty and I was very inquisitive. I was awarded a AUSAID scholarship to do Bachelor of Arts in International Studies here in Canberra. I'm on an internship program with the Fiji High Commission. So I'm trying to juggle my studies and internship and work. So it's all fun at the moment. I live in a flat with my friend and I go for part-time work that's on weekends and Friday nights, of course. I think in Fiji we are much more socialist. We love bonding and being together. Whereas here is much more individualistic. I don't even know my next door neighbor. Whereas in Fiji, I know the whole village. So back in Fiji, I taught for 4 years. So as a teacher, I was very nice and proper and I couldn't do anything that was out of line. My personal goal was to liberate myself more. My English has improved a lot and I'm doing things that I didn't think I would be able to do. I'm driving here, so it was another achievement. So really happy. Coming here, I really got my wings. I'm here at the Parliament House and I will be meeting up with an Australian network journalist to get a few tips on how to do an interview with Mr. Richard Marles tomorrow. I feel quite honoured and proud that I was given this opportunity by the Australian government itself to come and study here in Canberra. And now that I am taking a step forward and being in the government plus on the TV series, it's an amazing feeling that even though you're coming from a small rural area, you could always go on to do bigger things. Hello.
Hi Priya, I'm Catherine. How are you?
Nice to meet you, Catherine.
Yeah.
I met Catherine. She's one of the journalists at the Australian network. And she gave me some really helpful tips on how I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Marles tomorrow.
If we're following around here, I'll show you where our studio area is.
Sure.
In here, Priya, is the control room for the studio. This is Nicole, one of our directors. So this is the studio, Priya.
Okay.
This is where we record all the pieces for the parliamentary coverage for ABC and Australia Network. So why don't you go and sit behind?
Oh, yes.
And this is how, if you become a journalist,
Okay.
you can sit somewhere like that and present the news. So come on behind, sit there.
Okay.
And you can just talk to me from there for a minute.
Sure.
So you're presenting the news.
Okay.
That's where you'd sit. You'd probably just address him as Mr. Marles, I would imagine. And his wouldn't be a particularly formal person, just normal politeness. You don't need to just to greet him and say, how are you? It's always nice to make a few nice comments before you start the interview.
I guess the key thing I took away from the chat with Catherine was the etiquette I'll be portraying tomorrow with Mr. Marles. Probably the way I will dress up and the addressing, the introduction and everything, which I didn't think I would do. So now that Catherine has given me that tip, so I will probably incorporate it in tomorrow's interview.
Never swear.
Okay.
Do you know why that is? Whether the camera's rolling or not rolling, you should never swear, because if you got in the habit of it, and the camera was rolling, it'd be terrible, wouldn't it? You can't wear clothes that are really busy or too reflecting.
Yeah. I'm feeling a bit nervous, firstly about meeting Mr. Marles, so there's a bit of anxiety there. And then now that I know there are certain expectations of how I'm going to be doing the interview, so a bit of anxiety there as well. But then overall, I would say that now that I do know some things, that made me a bit more confident. So I think it should be a good day tomorrow. Tonight, I will probably prepare a bit of questions and probably my dressing and try and probably roll out how am I going to be posturing myself.
Mr. Marles, could you please explain your role and position? Mr. Marles, could you please explain your role and position as a Member of Parliament?
I'm here at the Parliament House in Canberra. Very shortly, I'll be interviewing Mr. Richard Marles. It's quite a chilly morning today. I'm a bit cold and nervous. I guess the cold is making me more nervous. But then at the same time, I'm quite excited as well because it will be the first time for me to interview. It's quite relevant to the studies I'm doing, that's international relations. Plus, he's also the Parliamentary Secretary for Foreign Affairs, as well as the Parliamentary Secretary for the Pacific Island Nation, the place where I come from. So it's pretty relevant, and I think I'll learn a lot from interviewing him as well. I think I am well prepared. I've got the questionnaire ready, and with yesterday's helpful tips, I think I am prepared, and I'm hoping it'll all go well.
All right, if everybody's happy, I've certainly finished fiddling with all the technical equipment, so I'll record.
Okay. First and foremost, I would like to thank you, Mr. Miles, for availing yourself out of your very busy schedule for this interview.
It's a pleasure, Priya. Great to be here.
Shall I start?
You go.
Yes. As a Parliamentary Secretary for the Pacific Island Affairs and Parliamentary Secretary for Foreign Affairs, how do you view Australia's relationship with the rest of the Pacific Islands?
I think it's very important for Australia at a global level because this is seen as a region in which Australia has influence. And I think rightly, Australia globally is judged for good or for ill based on the way in which we behave in the Pacific. And I say this a lot to when I meet countries in the Pacific. Your neighbours will always be your neighbours.
Yeah.
And whatever else happens 100 years from now, the Pacific is still going to be enormously important to Australia.
I'm assuming with such a huge role that you play, it could be quite hectic to balance all the expectations like travel, family, politics.
For me, when it's all said and done, the people who are going to be with you the whole way through are your family. And so what's very important is that's all great, the professional stuff. You just do have to find time for your family. And that's how I try to do it. I don't know whether I've got the balance right, but you know, you sort of work at it every day.
I think so. Fantastic. What advice would you give to students like me who would like to pursue a career in international relations?
Go for it is the first thing. It's a great job, it really is. And I think if you present with a sense of honesty and sincerity and you present with an open heart about how different people live their lives, then this is absolutely the career for you.
Thank you once again, and it was an honour to meet you.
Great to meet you.
Thank you for the interview.
That's a pleasure.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun.
I learned a few things on interview. That I should not make a lot of noise when the interviewer is speaking. I learned that from Chris, our cameraman. He passed me a note in between the interviews. Meeting Mr. Miles has strengthened my goals that I have for myself because I want to do something in foreign affairs as well. I'm doing something in that field anyway. So I think being able to speak to Mr. Miles and listen to his message, I think it really made me feel that I can do that as well for my own Pacific Island, for my own Fijis. I would have never dreamt about being in a Parliament House here in Canberra, and I'm really thankful and really glad that I got an opportunity to be part of this My Australia TV series because I have learned so much. I have grown as a person. I have got this amazing experience. I've met wonderful crew, so it's a wonderful, wonderful experience.